The Paradox of Afflictions, Mastery over Mental Defilements.
Hello everyone. Let us dive straight into the core. Today, through this in-depth, illustrated sharing session, we are going to explore an extremely hardcore teaching from the Australian Buddhist Association, one that might completely overturn our understanding. This teaching will completely grind your conventional views of negative emotions down to dust. Are you ready for a mind-blowing paradigm shift? To be honest, when it comes to greed and hatred, your first reaction, just like mine, is undoubtedly these are absolute evils that must be eradicated immediately. After all, that is what we've been taught since childhood. However, what if I told you that true enlightened beings, the bodhisattvas, are precisely able to utilize these very forces that usually destroy us in order to truly save us? Does that sound like an impossible paradox? Don't worry, we are going to break down this fascinating phenomenon step by step. We will cover the metaphor of the doctor and poison, the fundamental difference between realization and mastery, the ultimate sacrifice of a bodhisattva. Finally, digging into the true root of our everyday suffering. Part E, witnessing the paradox of afflictions. Let's begin with a striking passage from the Maratnaka Estra. The scripture states, when an awakened bodhisattva gives rise to afflictions such as greed or hatred, there is no transgression whatsoever. Not only is it not a mistake, but it is even their skillful means. What is this like? It is akin to someone playing with fire. Not a single hair on their body is scorched, yet they use that very fire to light the path for others. Zero transgression. How incredible is that? To understand how this makes sense logically and philosophically, we first need to carefully examine what mastery over mental defilements actually means. Listen carefully. This does not mean you have a license to do whatever evil you please. Absolutely not. It refers to an extraordinary capability where you have thoroughly comprehended the dangers of a specific affliction, yet you can flawlessly use it as a tool to awaken others while you yourself never fall into the pit of suffering experienced by ordinary beings. Part R, the doctor and the poison. In the second part, the teacher uses a metaphor extremely close to our daily lives to ground this profound concept. Think about broad-spectrum antibiotics prescribed by a doctor. The medicine itself is toxic. If a doctor precisely administers it to a patient, it is a life-saving miracle drug that cures the illness. But what if you took a healthy person and had them consume it like everyday meals? Complete disaster. 80% of the beneficial bacteria in their body would instantly die, stripping away substances essential for survival, which could easily prove fatal. Therefore, the medicine remains the same. The key lies in whether the person wielding it possesses an extremely precise understanding. This is identical to our afflictions of greed and desire. Just like a doctor understands pharmacology, you must clearly see the four-dimensional, multi-dimensional destruction that greed wreaks upon you. You might think craving sweet or sour foods is just a minor indulgence. Wrong. The teacher clearly explained in the sharing, craving sweets directly damages your brain neurons, leading to Alzheimer's disease, liver and kidney damage, or even diabetes resulting in amputation. Craving sours leads to renal function decline, acidosis, and myocardial ischemia. What about hatred or anger? Do you really think getting angry is just an emotional annoyance? Heavily loaded statement. When you fly into a rage, your endocrine system operates at an overwhelming, frantic overload. Your body floods with stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, spreading acute physical pain to every corner of your body, surging blood pressure, splitting headaches. What you thought was merely psychological distress has long since translated directly into tangible physical disease. Part 3, Realization CHNVS. Mastery D. This brings us to our third core point. There is a world of difference between simply knowing these hazards and truly mastering them. This is the distinction between realization CHN and mastery D. Realization CHN in Buddhism. Realization means you understand the theory, practice it, and have thoroughly proven to yourself that greed, hatred, and ignorance are destructive. You deeply feel that pain, so you become extremely cautious and resolute in avoiding them. It is like finally discovering that a cup contains poison. Nothing could make you drink it. Mastery D. The state is vastly more powerful. It is the ultimate expression of selflessness. It means not only have you proven the harm, but you have also attained complete freedom. You intentionally bear that destructive force, you willingly play the role and display that terrifying surface appearance, all for the sole purpose of shocking others out of their slumber. To put it simply, an ordinary practitioner has realization knowing fire burns. They quickly pull their hand back to protect themselves. A bodhisattva has mastery to show an ignorant, playful child how dangerous fire is. Scaring them so much they never dare play with fire again. This draws a sharp line between ordinary people protecting themselves and a bodhisattva using themselves as an educational tool. Part C, the ultimate sacrifice of a bodhisattva. Speaking of this, let us enter Part C to see what kind of shocking scene this ultimate sacrifice looks like in reality or within the scriptures. In the Avatasaka Astra flower ornament scripture, the story of King Anula is astonishing. To stop the common people from slaughtering and committing evil deeds, what did this king do? Frightening the citizens so thoroughly that they never dared do bad things again. Yet, what was in his own heart? He stated that he would rather plunge into the unceasing hell to suffer than bear to harbor a single malicious thought toward even an ant. This is mastery over mental defilements. Isn't it mind-blowing? Notice that true awakened beings never just stand there lecturing you dryly. They emphasize opening, revealing, and guiding KISHW are laying the truth wide open, personally demonstrating the consequences, even submitting themselves to self-inflicted destruction as a demonstration, all to make you experience a sudden awakening, see clearly how terrifying karma is, and safely guide you into true wisdom. It is just like a hardcore driving instructor to teach you safety. Devastating collision. Part 2. Why are we trapped? Now a very realistic question arises for Part 2, since we are not yet bodhisattvas. Why are we trapped helplessly by our negative emotions every single day? If you carefully dissect your anger, you will discover a profound secret. Hatred fundamentally has no independent root. What is it really? It is merely a painful byproduct squeezed out when your greed for wealth, status, or gourmet food is thwarted. Am I right? If greed were not frustrated, hatred wouldn't even cast a shadow. And where does greed come from? It stems from a fatal mistake we all commit, applying labels. Everything in this world is inherently neutral. Where is there any absolute good, bad, right, or wrong? Yet, we insist on slapping false labels onto them. Once we label something as good, we desperately crave it. The moment we fail to attain it, we fly into a rage, filled with arrogance and suspicion. You see, we diligently weave a tight, inescapable web of suffering with our own hands, locking ourselves firmly inside with no way out. Ultimately, we are faced with the paths. Wrong view, wearing colored glasses every day, frantically projecting your own subjective filters, concepts, and false labels onto reality. This path guarantees a lifetime of suffering. Right view, seeing things precisely as they are, without mixing in a shred of personal bias. Only through this can you truly break out of that massive pit and attain inner peace. To build this right view, Step E, recognize that the personal labels you paste are the ancestors of your suffering. Step R, immediately halt this habit of adding unnecessary drama to your life. However, the teacher also clearly pointed out our current capacity, our inherent wisdom has not yet been fully developed. Blundering forward on our own makes it very easy to crash. Therefore, at this stage, we must honestly and strictly rely on the precise, flawless teachings of the Buddha to guide us out of the darkness. Conclusion. So my friends, today we have thoroughly unpacked the Bodhisattva's mastery over afflictions and stripped bare the root of our own vexations. Before concluding this illustrated sharing session, you must ask yourself a soul-searching question. Are you going to continue holding on to those false definitions and labels, struggling bitterly within the web of suffering you wove yourself? Or are you ready to wake up right this very second and choose right view? Think it through. The answer lies in your very next arising thought. Thank you all for your company. Until next time.